welcome to another Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. Today, we're going to take a look at Shadows of Malice, a cooperative game of epic fantasy. This is, you can see here, it's not shrink wrapped. This has been rebagged. I picked this up on a deal after looking at this for quite some time, and mainly was interested in this because I think you can play this solitaire. Although it says 2 to 8 players, it's a cooperative game. So I think it plays solitaire relatively easy, if not even, I think there might even be rules for solitaire in this. It's for ages 14 up, 2 to 6 hours. This is very much kind of a fantasy RPG. I say fantasy a little loosely. It is not your typical fantasy of, orcs and goblins and elves and dwarves and stuff like that. This is, I think you're like creatures of light that are inhabiting creatures, or your light inhabiting creatures to go against the shadow or something like that. We'll try to see if we can see that as we get into this. This is published by Devious Weasel. Gotta love that name right there. And this is the 2014 edition. I think there is a second, I know there's a second edition of this game. And one of the reasons why I was able to pick this up at a lower rate is because this is the first edition and there's a second edition. However, I was able to download the rules for the second edition, and so I have this ready to go to, to see if there's any major differences. I think you can still use all the same components from the first edition in the second edition rules. I think they just changed a few rules on some things. So anyway, so some homework for me, I should say. If you look at it, the art is it's not your typical high fantasy type art. It looks somewhat kind of basic, but yet functional. It's also colorful. I like these little hex boards in here for the map. And I think they did that on for a reason, to try to keep it relatively just functional on the art, so that you can create the fantasy yourself. So you can, conjure up your own imagery of what you think the creatures or weapons or the encounters, what they look like, and not try to superimpose art on top of it that now you're kind of locked into that visual narrative. Anyway, that's just something I read on there. Shadows are thickening. Darkness is clotting. Little time remains before, I cannot pronounce that, Xulthul, the Lord of Shadow, can congeal a skin of malice, and with it enter the realm of Aethos to usher in an age of ruin. But there is hope. If your band of avatars can find and unseal the remaining light wells before Xulthul's shadows can corrupt a single one, the Lord of Shadow will fall in his pursuit of flesh and remain imprisoned in the Shadow Realm. It says cooperative gameplay, modular game board, customizable difficulty and duration, over 25,000 unique creatures. That's kind of cool. Never the same game twice, and then here's all the stuff you get in here. But why read about it when we can get into this? And my understanding is on this copy is that it is both unpunched and the cards are still sealed. So yeah, that's one reason I picked this up. I could have got the second edition, which cost closer to probably what the retail of this was, or I don't even know if this wasn't retail. This might have been just a Kickstarter. But this one I got for a really good deal. This one so much so that I might put this in Kilroy's Bargains because it was such a good deal. And with the updated rules in my hand, I think I can live with it, right? So it's a good thick box here, square box. Here are the rules. God, that black little rule book is so, for me, just conjures up the Traveler, my old little Traveler role-playing books. But that's me, not you. So we have how many pages? 29 pages with some creature generator and icon and movement chart on the back here and credit. So probably really 27 pages of rules. Looks like there's an example of play here. It's a smaller book, so 28 pages of smaller format. Here's your background, the avatars of Aethos, the game objective, the game components. all the stuff you're going to get in here. Card decks, soul shards, radiance tokens, game tokens, creature generators, shadow realm, and terrain maps. Cool. Here's a setup. Set up the game in 9 easy steps. Only 9. Here's how to play. As you can see here, the cards are not, they're functional, right? They're not giving you a whole bunch of art and everything because they want you to, imagine that yourself, right? Here's game notation and mechanics. Here's movement. So this looks like it's a little bit more grand scale or epic type fantasy, and that you're going to be moving over, continents or large areas and having encounters, as opposed to like a dungeon crawl. Here's movement. Here's fate. Here are creatures, or is the creature generator. Living and dying, important part of a game there. Then you have combat here. Combat's not that long, actually, just a page, a little over a page and a half. Soul shards, treasure, wells and radiance. These are kind of the portals you're trying to close off or control, kind of the key part of the game. Cities and mystics, the shadows, the ultimate baddie, and there is the ultimate baddie, Xulthul. I'm going to butcher it. It's a fantasy setting. I can call it anything I want, right? Here's an example of gameplay. So really 21 pages of rules. And then you have an example of gameplay, which is nice to have. And then some charts like we talked about. Here are those big game boards. They are single-sided. Missed opportunity there, but very thick. Look at very nice, thick game boards. That art is fine. I mean, it's kind of evokes some fantasy there. So there's 1. Here's a 2. They're not really cluttered with a lot of symbology. It looks real. I mean, there's some on there. Ooh, this looks like the underworld or something. And then the last one right there. So that's cool. All right, here are some of the tokens. It is unpunched. And these are double-sided here. And good thickness and pre-rounded because they're round. How about that? Here, the creature generator, that's on a thick stock as well. So I imagine you're going to be rolling that a lot. Maybe that's kind of like a random creature chart. Here's icon and movement guide. Nice. That's on the back of that creature generator. And more tokens here. Cool. Ooh, and they pop out relatively easy. It's just putting it back. It popped out. Here's a bag o' dice. 2 sizes, 2 colors, and 2 sizes. You got black and white, and you got medium and small or smaller. So lots of dice there. You got some baggies to organize it all with. And we got these shards. These are these soul shards, I think. Good, chunky, different colors. And they got a whole bunch of clear ones in there, if you can see. Cool. That looks cool. Then we've got 4 decks of cards here. Let's should we work our way up from small to larger? The and these are shrink wrapped or sealed, so that's cool. So true to the advertisement. So as I said, this is I thought this was a good deal. I am going to put this in Kilroy's Bargains. Somebody reminds me. Cards are not especially thick. I mean, they're okay. I think they're just meet the standard of something you might want to flip around. They're not too thin, but they don't have like a, kind of a heft to them. These are all potions, and there's different colors: yellow, red, black, green, and blue. for different. There's liquid rage. She's got all kind of different potions here. That's cool. Get me some potions. All right, that draught of flesh, that doesn't sound too appealing. All right. Let's get into, this is just treasure, this is mastery, and this is fate. Let's look at the fate next. We were fated to look at the fate next here. And these are all fate cards, and they have the black and white, almost a yin and yang type feel there. Again, not a lot of art on these, just a little bit of text explaining what it is. So you got instant and invoked, so I guess that might be the phase or lasting, so this might stay out on the board. So it looks like I got 3 different status or phases of these type of fates here. Anyway, so those are your fates. Let's look at treasure here. Should do treasure last, right? Yeah, I've already started it. And some of these are turned different ways. So let's get them all the right way. Ring of Spiders. So this has some art on it, right? I mean, it's kind of minimal, but they do have some art on these. It's just not that overdrawn or overblown fantasy type stuff. It's kind of basic, but not bad. I don't know, I like it. Not bad. All different types of treasures there. And then we've got masteries. I imagine these are some kind of skill. This is I would put this in the and this goes in my RPG playlist. I've got several RPG specific playlists, you know, fantasy and military and the like, but this to me goes like an RPG board. This is basically a board game that gives you kind of an RPG feel to it. So these are abilities. Let's look at these abilities. Cool. And again, this all goes to, you know, your the light that you're playing or whatever you're doing. So you're going to have, does have somewhat of a RPG feel, I would imagine. I'll put these there, and then we've got masteries here. All these masteries, yeah, all these are masteries. Bloodsinger, Lightbender, Lightbender avatar. There's no copyright infringement there. Time Dancer, Lifecaster. These are cool. So these are special abilities for your avatars. Cool, Luckcaster, I like that one. So there you have it. That is what you get in a box of Shadow of Malice. This is, again, first edition. Not to be confused with the second edition. First edition was 2014. Second edition was 2018. As I said, I think they changed some of the rules, mainly, I think, on combat, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong there. So if I am, please feel free to chime in and let me know the error of my ways. But there you have it. That is what you get in a box of Shadow of Malice. This looks interesting. I think I'm going to enjoy this. Mainly, again, I picked it up for the solo capability of playing this game, and I think I should be able to do that. Most cooperative games you can without too much trouble, and some are just kind of really solo games that can be played cooperatively. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. Shadows of Malice. This has not gotten a lot of press or a lot of buzz, and it's 5 years old, I guess, from the second edition. So, thought I would take my hand at it. Anyway, thanks all, and please leave some comments if you played this or know anything about this or are interested in it. Love to hear your thoughts and comments. Take care. Thanks for watching.